I cried at an advert last week. Not a film, not a funeral. An advert for dog food. And the moment it happened, my face did something no other animal on this planet can do. Water came out of my eyes because of a feeling. You have done this too, probably somewhere embarrassing. Here's the part that should bother you. Every animal has tear glands. Dogs have them. Elephants have them. Chimpanzees, who share almost all of our DNA, have them. They all use tears to keep their eyes wet and to flush out dust. None of them, not one, produces tears because of how they feel. Only us. And nobody actually knows why. Charles Darwin looked directly at this and gave up. He spent a career explaining why we have the faces we have, and when he got to emotional tears, he essentially wrote them off as purposeless. The greatest explainer of animal behavior in history looked at you crying and had nothing. So stay till the end, because there is a study where men sniffed women's tears out of a sealed vial, never saw anybody cry, could not smell anything at all, and their testosterone dropped anyway. I read the actual papers for this one, including the argument between the two labs that still has not been settled. Let me start by breaking something you think is one thing into three. You have three completely different kinds of tears. The first is basal. That is the thin layer sitting on your eye right now, keeping it from drying out. It never stops. Every animal with eyelids has these. The second is reflex. That is onions, dust, smoke. A flush cycle. Also everywhere in the animal kingdom. The third is emotional, and that one only exists in you. Same glands, same plumbing. Completely different trigger. Something in the human line reached in and wired a feeling to a tap that was only ever meant for dust. So when did that wiring happen? Here is the first strange clue. It does not happen at birth. A newborn cries from the first minute. Loud, urgent, impossible to ignore. But no tears. Nothing comes out. The tear glands do not mature enough to produce emotional tears until somewhere around 6 weeks old. Sit with what that means. For the first month and a half of your life, you had the crying and not the tears. Two separate systems, arriving at two separate times, that eventually got welded together into one thing you now think of as a single behavior. They were never one thing. You just assume they are because you have never seen them apart. But the actual anomaly is not the tears at all. It is that you still do this. Ad Vingerhuts at Tilburg University has spent decades on this, and he points out something almost nobody notices. Distress signaling is normal in young animals. A puppy whines, a chick calls, a lamb bleats for its mother. That is standard equipment across the animal kingdom. Then they grow up, and it stops. An adult wolf does not whimper for help. An adult chimpanzee does not sit down and sob. Across the animal kingdom, adults hold it together because an adult broadcasting helplessness is an adult advertising itself as easy to kill. Humans never age out of it. A 40-year-old will sit in a parked car and cry the same way they did at 4. Vingerhoots calls this exceptional, and exceptional is doing a lot of work in that sentence. It is not that we cry, it is that we never stopped, which means the crying is not left over. It is being kept. So what is it for? The leading answer is that it is not a release valve at all. It is a message. Think about what a tear actually does. It is visible from across a room. It is very hard to fake convincingly. It is even harder to stop once it starts. And it blurs your vision, which means at the exact moment it appears, you have made yourself worse at fighting and worse at running. That is not a bug. In signaling terms, that is the entire point. A signal only works if it costs you something to send. Anyone can say they need help. Only someone genuinely overwhelmed will disarm themselves in front of you to prove it. And it works. In experiments, people shown the same face with and without tears rate the teary version as more helpless and more in need of support. And that judgment predicts whether they actually step in and help. The tears are not draining anything out of you. They are reaching out and pulling somebody in. Michael Trimble, a neurologist who has written extensively on this, and Vingerhoots both land in roughly the same place. Tears are language, one that needs no translation, works across every culture, and that you cannot lie in. Now the thing I promised. In 2011, a team at the Weizmann Institute, led by Shani Gelstein, working under Noam Sobel, published something in Science that people still argue about. They collected real emotional tears from women watching sad films. Then they had men sniff either those tears or plain saline from a sealed vial. The men never saw anyone cry. The tears had no detectable smell. The men had no idea what was in the vial. After sniffing the tears, the men rated women's faces as less sexually attractive. Their physical arousal measures dropped. Their testosterone dropped. And in a brain scanner, the parts of their brain tied to sexual arousal went quieter. From a liquid they could not even smell. Now here's where I have to be straight with you, because most videos about this leave the next part out. Another team, including Asmir Gurchanan, later tried to repeat the attractiveness result and failed to get it. Sobel's group pushed back hard and argued that TEAM was not a chemical signaling lab and their method was not the same. A separate group did replicate the testosterone drop. The argument is still open. So the honest position is this: something is probably in there. How strong it is and exactly what it does is not settled. Anyone telling you it is settled is selling you something. And this part is genuinely bizarre. Tears working as a chemical signal is not unique to us at all. Mole rats smear themselves with their own tears and get attacked less by dominant males. Mouse pups carrying a compound found in tears get approached differently by adult males, which flips the whole thing around. The chemistry might be ancient and shared. It is the visible, emotional, streaming down your face part that is ours alone. Now let me take something away from you. You have almost certainly heard that crying flushes toxins out of your body, that stress chemicals build up and tears wash them out. It is the reason people say a good cry is cleansing. That came from a biochemist named William Frey in 1985. It has never been properly demonstrated. It just sounded right, got repeated for 40 years, and hardened into common knowledge. But there is something real underneath it, and it was hiding in the timing. When researchers showed people a sad film and measured their mood right afterwards, the criers looked worse than everyone else, which is why for years the science said crying does not help. Then Vingerhoots and his colleagues waited 90 minutes and measured again. The people who had cried were now in a better mood than before the film even started. Not the same. Better. The relief is real. It just does not arrive when you expect it to. Everybody who tested this immediately was measuring the wrong moment and concluding the wrong thing for years. So put it together. You have a signal that evolved to be seen. It disarms you on purpose so that somebody else knows the request is real. It works on the person watching. It might even be working on their body chemistry. It is one of the only honest things your face can do. And where do you use it? In the shower? In your car with the engine off? Face down in a pillow at 2 in the morning, waiting until the room is empty and everybody is gone. Your ancestors cried in a group of 30 people who all knew your name, and hands arrived. You cry with the door locked and the volume down, and then you wash your face so nobody finds out. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. There is just nobody in the room to receive it. So the next time it happens somewhere stupid, over an advert, or a song, or a photograph, understand what you are actually doing. That is not weakness leaking out. That is the oldest request your species has, going out on a frequency nobody is listening to. I cried at an advert last week for dog food, and I did it alone, which is the only part of it that is new.